SUPUbuild.com presents the SUP You Build Cookbook by Bob and Chris Broadhead. Intro. Welcome to the SUP You Build Cookbook, the easiest, cheapest, and quickest way to make a high-performance stand-up paddleboard. The fastest and most stable stand-up paddleboards are catamaran paddleboards, twin hull design. You can make one of these quickly and cheaply by recycling an old windsurfer board or prone paddle surfboard. If you Google Standamaran, you will see pictures of existing twin hull SUPs. You can go faster and safer through rough water with this design. Step 1. Finding a board. The best boards to make your Standamaran out of are used windsurfer boards that are 12 feet long and 7 inches thick. 210 to 270 liters of volume are needed to support a 175 pound to 230 pound paddler. My blue and white AHD board is 270 liters. This will support a paddler up to 230 pounds. The best place to find a used windsurfer board is on Craigslist, a windsurfer retail store, or anywhere else that might sell these types of boards. I personally paid $150 for my first board, $100 for my second board, and got my third board for free! Cha-ching! Step 2. Cutting the board. In order for your Standamaran to operate properly, you need to cut the center board out. Most windsurfers are 25 inches to 27 inches wide. You will need to cut out about 3 inches of the center stringer. This will get rid of the center board. Mark 1.5 inches on each side of the center line, nose, and tail. Use a flexible straight edge ruler to make your cutting lines on both the top and bottom. Next, set your skill saw to a 1/2 inch deep and cut shallow grooves along the trace lines on the board's fiberglass surface. The real cutting is done with a PVC handsaw. Hand cutting assures a perfectly flat cut from the top of the board to the bottom of the board. You will be left with 2 holes, 10 inches to 12 inches wide and 12 feet long. Step 3. Sanding. After you are finished cutting, sand all the board edges with an electric 4-inch square or oscillating sander to produce a rounded edge. Hand sand the foam flat with number 100 grit sandpaper using a long sanding block that is 1 inch by 4 inch by 12 inches. Any holes in the foam can be easily filled with lightweight spackle. Make sure to let the spackle dry overnight before sanding. If your board has any holes, you can easily patch them with epoxy that is thickened with Cabasil thickener. West System 407 fairing filler is an excellent choice for epoxy thickener. It is a nice white color and sands out easy. Remember to only use epoxy resin because polyester resin will melt any foam it comes in contact with. Step 4. Draping the fiberglass cloth. You can use 1 layer of 8-ounce cloth or 2 layers of 6-ounce cloth. Start by putting roofing paper or plastic sheeting on your work floor and work table. This will catch any dripping resin. Stabilize the hulls on the work table with concrete end caps, blocks, or bricks. This will keep the hull in an easy to work on foam facing up position. Use masking tape to protect the hull sides from dripping resin. Masking tape the sides to within a 1/4 inch of the top. Uncovered 1/4 inch ensures the fiberglass cloth contacts both the foam top and the sides. After all the sanding is complete, wipe all the exposed foam with denatured alcohol. Carefully roll out an 8-inch wide strip of fiberglass cloth and drape it over the raw foam. You can trim the excess off. Leave about 1/2 to 1 inch overlap. I like to tape the nose and tail of the cloth down with masking tape. Put a few pieces of wood on top of the fiberglass cloth to stabilize it. After trimming is complete, remove wood from cloth. Step 5. Applying the resin. Now it's time to mix the resin. I like to use 3-to-1 epoxy for 75 to 80 degree air temperature and 4-to-1 epoxy for 65 to 75 degree air temperature. This will give you 10 to 20 minutes working time. Mix thin epoxy laminating resin with the hardener for 3 minutes. Don't mix more than 12 to 16 ounces at a time. Epoxy can be mixed and applied in stages. If you don't mix enough, it only takes 3 minutes to mix up some more. Continue until both hulls are coated. Pour it along the middle of the fiberglass cloth. Using a squeegee, push it lengthwise like a road grader. Slant your squeegee so you push the resin into the cloth and slowly move it to all the edges. You should squeegee off the resin till it sounds like fingernails on a screen door. Any puddling of the resin causes a weak spot, so be sure to avoid that. Step 6. The finishing coat. If you want a smooth, slick surface, do a finishing coat using a cheap, short, bristle paintbrush. Mix a small batch that is 8 ounces. Pour lengthwise, lightly squeegee, then lightly brush smooth the resin by just dragging the brush across the top of the board surface. If it's not perfect, you can power sand it later with number 40 grit, then number 100 grit, then number 200 grit to get a polishable surface. After about 1 hour, you can razor trim the excess cloth. Wait 3 hours before sanding the edges smooth. Use your power sander or hand sander with the sanding block. Be careful not to over sand the edge, as this will cause a leak. Step 7. Crossbar installation. The 2-inch inside diameter number 40 thick-walled PVC pipe works great for the crossbars. Place the holes on a flat surface like a garage floor. Space them 7 to 10 inches apart. You want the finished board to be 30 inches to 32 inches wide at its widest. The holes need to be shimmed up on the outboard edges so your feet will be standing on a flat surface when paddling. Lay the PVC pipe on the board about 3 feet back from the nose and 3 feet back from the tail. Scribe the hull curvature onto the side of the PVC pipe with a magic marker. Cut the PVC with a jigsaw by hand so the curve of the PVC matches the curve of the hull tops. Make sure you prep the hull surface before gluing. Sand the hull top with number 40 grit sandpaper and wipe clean with denatured alcohol. Check the distance between the hulls. Make sure it's the same front, mid, and rear. Now mix up 8 ounces of epoxy resin and hardener. After 3 minutes of mixing, add number 404 West Marine bonding filler till you get it to the consistency of peanut butter. Use a putty knife to apply the bonding epoxy to the hull. Now place crossbars into the bonding epoxy and scrape off extra epoxy with your paint scraper. Watch out for drips and pre-tape sensitive areas with masking tape. Wait about 3 hours for epoxy to fully harden. Step 8. Fin box install. Surfsource.net sells fins and boxes for about $8 each. The 8-inch fin and the 8.5-inch fin box will work just fine. Place the fin box 7 inches in from the tail of the board. Draw an outline of the box with a Sharpie. Cut out the outline with an electric saber saw. Use a blade that is the same length as the fin box depth. Dig out the foam with a hacksaw blade just deep enough so the box fits in snug. Place the 8-inch fin into the 8.5-inch fin box. This will help you to align the fin box correctly. Pull the fin box out. Next, mix up about 4 ounces of resin and add the 404 thickener till it's the consistency of peanut butter. Put the putty into the bottom and sides of the fin box hole. Gently insert the box till it is flush. Wipe off the excess resin. Eyeball your fin alignment and let it harden. Step 9. Deck pads. You can buy top-of-the-line deck pads from shopsbt.com for about $45. If you want to spend less, Home Depot offers indoor-outdoor carpet. Install the pads between the crossbars. This should take about 6 feet of pad. Leave a ½ inch space on the inboard sides of the hulls uncovered. This will allow you to insert a lightweight plywood deck between the hulls. Step 10. Build a plywood deck. This is a nice safety feature. It can keep you from accidentally falling in between the hulls. We make the decks out of lightweight 1/4 inch sandy ply from Home Depot. Cut the deck the exact width between the two deck pads. Cut the length of the deck about 1 inch too long. This provides a way of shimming the deck into a stay-put position. Finally, waterproof the deck with a small amount of epoxy resin. You can finish by adding the deck pad to the deck. Step 11. Go paddle! Well, I hope you enjoyed our SUP You Build Cookbook, and let's get out there and paddle. Thanks for listening, and thanks for building. Bye.